exterminated. Rats? Filthy, disgusting, disease-ridden rats, and I can't tolerate even the thought of them. They have to be gotten rid of, the sooner the better. Top to bottom.
Yes, that is exactly what should be done. But you must give me some time, please, Hammy.
Time for what? Just kill the rats. Do you understand? Kill those rats.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass.
You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
Welcome to another episode, another exciting episode of The Outsiders, where we're here to shine the light. We're the disinfectant to all the corruption that's going on out here. And today's show, we're going to be talking about lawmakers and judges arrested, and we're going to be going over an interview that took place with the Inspector General, Isabel Cumming, Baltimore City Inspector General, the hypocrisy, the utter hypocrisy that's in the media. We're going to be talking about that. And First Lady Melania Trump. First Lady Melania Trump's citizenship was attacked by a radio host. So we're gonna go over that, what happened with that attack that came on First Lady Melania Trump, Donald Trump's, the president's wife. So I want to get right into it. On screen, Isabel Cumming, the IG. I'm going to get right into the interview that took place, a snippet of it. I'm not going to play the whole thing, just a snippet, and I'm going to give my comments on what I think about the whole situation with what's going on with the hypocrisy in the media. Let me go ahead and cue that up. Okay. And you'll hear what's going on.
To get involved, to get back into the conversation, joining us is a woman who's become the front line of accountability in our city. As Baltimore Inspector General Isabel Cumming, is an independent watchdog tasked with protecting your tax dollars. Now, I want to go through her role real quick.
Sure, I just want to mention this real quick. If you have somebody coming on your show, make sure you know their name. Get the name right. That's just basic stuff. Okay, we'll continue.
Alright, because she's currently serving her second historic term as the Baltimore City Inspector General. She is unanimously reappointed through 2030. She's the first woman and the first Hispanic and the first Puerto Rican woman or person.
Wait. The first Puerto Rican. She's the first Puerto Rican woman. Now, the reason why I'm making that statement, and Jason made that statement, I found it interesting that I attempted over the last few years, especially when this DPW debacle took place and Isabel was involved in shining the light on that, because whistleblowers came to her about the information that was going on with DPW. I had Stancil McNair on my show numerous times. I also gave Stancil McNair some advice as far as the running for the president of the local union. I had Clarence Thomas on the show on several occasions as well. Went down there out in the cold, out in the heat, DPW, because I'm an advocate for the DPW workers, and spoke with numerous DPW workers on top of that. And with all of this, you would think that Isabel, after I made multiple requests for her to come on the show, The Outsiders, nothing. Just Oh, well, I'll see. I'll find out what, nothing. Then I find out that she's going on WOLB, Jason Rodriguez's show. Why? I mean, I just discredited him last week, just showing what he really is. And I want to get into that more in depth as well. And spoke to her, and not spoke to her, but I attempted to. And she got a text message back, and, you know, I'm only going to be on a 10 minutes, Sean. I couldn't figure out why. Now I know the connection. I guess I don't have the complexion for the protection or for any type of coming on my show. Because I'm not Puerto Rican. So because Jason's Puerto Rican, you went on his show? Okay, fine. You know what? Fine, Isabel. Fine. I thought we were better than that, but I guess we're not. So I'm going to go ahead and continue this because there's going to be an interesting question that she's asked. But in the meantime, let's listen to Jason. Wow, did that go on?
To serve as an independent inspector general for the city of Baltimore, which I am truly proud of being a colleague with myself. She holds a Juris Doctorate with honors and an
It's not called a Juris Doctorate. It's called a Juris Doctorate. But, you know, let's go on.
MBA from the University of Baltimore. She is an undergraduate in accounting. She has an undergraduate in accounting from James Madison University. She has dual certifications. She's a dual certified expert as both a certified inspector general, a CIG, as well as a certified fraud examiner, a CFE. She has previously served as assistant inspector general of investigations to the Washington Metro System, managing over 200 high-level investigations. She has prosecutorial experiences, former chief of economics crime of the economics crime unit for Prince George's County.
Let me stop because this went on for about 3 minutes. Now, Isabel texts me that, oh, it's just going to be a 10-minute. Like that means something. No response on coming on to my show. Oh, it'll just be 10 minutes. Now, this interview took, I'd say about half an hour or more or longer. It was over a half an hour. So that 10 minutes, no. And I'm going to skip to the question if I can find it because this is very interesting the way she answers this question.
I offer protection for them, okay? But like I told you a little while ago, our controls were still embezzlement. Thank you for that experience.
Okay, I have to get to the question. Now let's listen to this question and her answer.
Okay, Diane, you on air? Thank you so much, Ms. Cummins, for the time you've been doing a marvelous job. Question. What would your office do if a whistleblower came to your office with documentation of possible embezzlement by an elected official in your purview of over $1 million in taxpayer money? Thank you.
Well, the question is, what would your office do if a whistleblower came to your office and there were allegations of an elected official and it's in your purview, which means you can investigate it, in your purview of over $1 million of possible embezzlement. What would you do? Now this is the question posed to Isabel Cummins. And here's her answer. It seems like she's having a little difficulty. She knows the answer to this question like that. Pop, pop, pop. Why is the he-ho, howing and the... I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Maybe she was being distracted. Let's continue.
Okay, but like I told you a little while ago, our controls were taken away from us for we do not have access to monitor our records for about 90 hours. So that is what concerns me as to, what happened. So, but normally those are the type of cases we do. exclusive jurisdiction over elected officials. I worked there for 7 years, a long time ago. So we have law enforcement partners that we can work with if we don't have jurisdiction over a case. But if it's a case.
Now she just said, if someone comes to her with this information and they don't have jurisdiction over the case, then she works with her partners. I guess they refer it to the partners the IG works with. Okay, so let's continue.
Usually involved in Baltimore City, it is something that we can do. So, but with our limited resources and everything, we try our best to get you. But we have a tremendous number of people coming to this office. Well, I answered that correct.
Okay. Let's kind of reflect on it on. My question.
Now this is Carlton Douglas, the host of the show, and we'll be getting to Carlton Douglas and statement that he made on one of his shows, but this is Carlton Douglas, and he has a question as well for IG coming.
Do you have oversight as an Inspector General over the Register of Wills and the clerk of the court?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Is that correct?
Okay. Let's kind of reflect on it on. My question is, do you have oversight as an Inspector General over the Register of Wills and the clerk of the court?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Okay, no I don't. That's it. That's the answer. That's it. Wait a minute, wait. Wouldn't the answer be, no, I don't have oversight? However, as I said earlier, that if someone was to come to me, our office, with this type of information, that we have partners that we work with, and we would give the information to the partners we work with. Why did she just simply stop and say, oh no, that's because of the Conaways? It's because Carlton, why was the register? Miss Cumming, I have a question for you as well, huh? When the Register of Will office and the clerk of the court, now would you investigate that? Would you investigate that? Why is he asking that question? No one mentioned the Register of Wills. No one mentioned the clerk of the court. No one mentioned that except Carlton here. So just trying to figure out why would you mention that? And I want to get into the Puerto Rican. I want to get into Afro Puerto Rican. I want to get into Jason Rodriguez and the utter hypocrisy. That show, talking about what's going on with Isabel's office, talking about whistleblowers, talking about corruption, talking about this sort of thing, on and on and on. Yet Jason Rodriguez was given information by a whistleblower on the Conaways, specifically, and it does involve Belinda as well. Okay, on Xavier Conaway, and he was given the information as far as the rats and safety and health issues as well, and all this information he was given and told. And guess what? Oh no, hide that. Don't talk about that. Don't talk about that. Utter hypocrisy. If you think, Jason, listen up. If you think that you're going to try to get some type of credibility back because I tore up your investigative journalist card, and you think you're going to get some kind of credibility back by riding on the coattails of Isabel Cumming and her investigation? Is that what you think is going to happen? No, Ace. That's not going to happen. You're a hypocrite. I know it. The whole world is finding out what you are and what the Conaways are. And I got a story coming up that's going to touch on that situation as well. Let's get to what's going on with courts and arrests and information that's going on, and lawmakers being arrested. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. We're going to get to that. But before we get to that, there is situation. I like this guy. His name is Dela Cruz. I like what the work he does, and he talks about what goes on here in Maryland and Baltimore. And let's take a gander. Let's take a look of one of his stories on his podcast, Dela Cruz. And I like Tyson Dela Cruz. I like this guy.
After 6 months of investigation, after being directly asked, Moore's team can't tell you how much taxpayer money goes to nonprofits. They say, I can't tell you the figure off the top of my head. This isn't complicated math here.
We're surrounded by inspector generals, yet this state, which is, I hear, is the richest in the United States of America, doesn't have an inspector general to watch out for the public.
Maryland doesn't have a statewide inspector general to watch taxpayer money. Why? Because they don't want the oversight. They don't want anybody tracking where billions and billions of dollars of taxpayer money is going. Maryland has over 42,000 registered nonprofits. Federal database shows they receive billions in taxpayer money, but that exact number they won't tell you. And when reporters show up at Maryland nonprofits headquarters to ask questions, they're told nobody's here to speak to you.
David Turner is a spokesman with the governor's office.
The reason why this is complicated is because every agency has a different grant-making process. There's no singular grant-making authority within the state of Maryland.
This, my friends, is what corruption looks like. Billions and billions of dollars flowing to nonprofits with zero transparency, zero accountability, zero willingness to answer basic questions, and Moore is sitting on a $1.4 billion deficit while refusing to audit where the money's going. Now let's talk about the fraud scheme the whistleblower just exposed and why Moore is running from questions about it. Multiple former DHS employees have accused senior officials of deliberately maintaining higher error rates on SNAP payments to delay the $240 million in federal penalties. We broke this down in depth in another video. I'll place the link for it somewhere above or in the description down below. But let me break down what happened here. Senior officials at DHS allegedly created a plan to keep SNAP error rates high, meaning they deliberately didn't fix errors, hoping to delay penalties until after Trump left office, and the penalties might get canceled. This isn't incompetence. This is deliberate fraud. They were knowingly maintaining errors that cost...
Yeah, I'm going to go right along with Tyson. This is deliberate. $1.1 million unaccounted for. That's a huge red flag for embezzlement, fraud. Okay, this is not, oh gee whiz, we made an error on the books, because this is what goes on in the state of Maryland, Wes Moore, state of Maryland.
Cost taxpayers money, hoping that political winds would change.
I think the results show that any type of accusation that there was an artificially high manipulation is not accurate because it didn't happen.
So obviously what happened when the whistleblower exposed this? They got terminated. Classic retaliation.
Classic retaliation, termination. Talk to the Circuit Court for Baltimore City. Talk to Xavier Conaway. He needs to be looked at. That's a statewide agency. They receive federal funds. The Register of Wills Office is a state agency. It receives federal funds. That $1.1 million that went unaccounted for, part of that money is federal funds. Let's continue.
For telling the truth. But watch how Moore responds when asked directly.
Did you know that was happening?
Well, no, and also I want to be clear that that's not the case.
So that's, the whistleblower allegations are false?
No, what we have actually uncovered the fact that the allegations that were being made, those things were not happening.
He claims the investigation proved the allegations were false. But here's the problem. He won't release the investigation. I wonder why. He won't show you the findings. He just expects you to trust him that the whistleblower was lying.
I wouldn't trust Wes Moore. His nickname, now they're calling him Wes Whore. I wouldn't trust him no further than I could throw him. I have absolutely no trust in that used car salesman. From the jump, from the beginning, I had no trust in him. Now, chickens are coming home to roost.
So let me get this straight. Whistleblowers expose a scheme to hide $240 million in penalties. They get fired. Moore claims an investigation cleared everyone, but he won't release the investigation. And when reporters asked who conducted it, he walks away shaking his head. That is not behavior of an innocent man.
No.
That is a behavior of somebody trying to hide something. Now let me show you a...
Stop. Now I want to stop right there, and I could go on. That's a great video. But let's talk about somebody trying to hide something. Perfect segue. I want to read you this letter. This is from the Administrative Office of the Courts. This is a letter regarding a request for costs by yours truly to the Administrative Office of the Court, Government Communications and Relations. And I requested the costs, okay, mind you, okay? Not legal documents, not case documents, the costs associated with the Maryland electronic courts, the installation in the Baltimore City Circuit Court, as it was a project of the Maryland Judiciary, which officially launched, and it's the MDEC, it launched on May 6, 2024. That's the electronic court system. These costs would include equipment, labor, and staff hours, because they pulled the staff to go into the system. They had to get some type of documentation to be JIS or whatever, their computer system or whatever, and technical information they had to get put in the system so they can go in, remove the fees that were paid by the mayor's office and the city council, recording fees that were paid for years, 20 plus years. And they went in to take those fees out so that they would show the overcharge fees to show that they were never paid, but they were paid. Where's the money? Where's the audit? Speaking of which, there hasn't been an audit for 5 years. That's a federal agency. The Circuit Court for Baltimore City is a federal agency, and then you have 5 years, no audit of federal funds. Why not? Speaking of hiding, let me continue. The cost of the bulletproof glass installed at the Circuit Court for Baltimore City, the cost to provide parking for the employees at the Circuit Court for Baltimore City. Listen to this. This is all I'm asking for. Maryland Public Information Act. I have a right, you have a right to have this information. Here's a response. The access rules govern public access to judicial records, whether in paper or in electronic form. Let me get this straight here. That are in the custody of a judicial agency, judicial personnel, or a special judicial union. Maryland Rule 16-901A. The requested items are not requests for judicial records, but rather requests for information. Yes, it's requests for the cost, administrative information. That's what I'm requesting. The access rules cannot be used to respond to information requests. This is a denial of my request. Let me let you all see. This is a denial of a request using the MPI. Oh, yes. And here's his name and his signature. Nick Cavey. Nick Cavey. You can freeze frame that all if you want to really take a good look. Sent me that letter denying me to know what the cost is. The costs were for putting up the Maryland electronic court system, bulletproof glass, and the parking for the employees. But trust and believe, I'm going to deal with that. Okay, so let's get on. I'm going to continue with Tyson just for a little bit, and then I'm going to touch on another subject real quick.
Pattern that connects directly to Maryland's nonprofit black hole. Baltimore Mayor Brandon Scott's wife worked for a nonprofit called Be More Empowered.
Mrs. Scott started working as the Director of Operations for Be More Empowered in September 2021. She started dating the mayor in 2022. Her employer began to receive money through the Baltimore City government in 2023, totaling $34,950 taxpayer dollars by 2024.
Let me give you the timeline here. September 2021, Miss Scott starts working for Be More Empowered. 2022, she starts dating Mayor Scott. 2023, Be More Empowered receives $34,000 plus from Baltimore City. July 2023, Downtown Partnerships awards them $80,000 day before pregnancy announcement. 2024, Baltimore
Wow.
Children and Youth Fund sends $62,000 plus. So after she starts dating the mayor, her employer suddenly gets nearly $180,000 in taxpayer money, and nobody thought that this was a conflict of interest.
It's definitely a conflict of interest.
Yes, it's a conflict of interest, which is the state of Maryland itself, a conflict of interest. One conflict of interest after another, after another, after another, after another. This is practically a communist state. That's why the state of Maryland is nicknamed the People's Republic of Maryland. These are the reasons. I'm going to go to this guy. I like this guy too. His name is Ron Yates, and what he has to talk about, what he brought up, very interesting. Arrest judges, politicians, the FBI.
The Federal Bureau of Investigation is knocking on doors again, and this time it's not protesters, it's not parents, it's not whistleblowers, it's Democrat judges and Democrat politicians. From Tanya Fernandez Anderson being taken into custody in Massachusetts to indictments that are tied to disaster money and pandemic funds and, of course, courthouse abuse. And, of course...
Oh, you hear that all? You hear that, Belinda Conaway? You hear that, Xavier Conaway? This is a new game. This is not Biden's not in office, Jack. No. Let Ron continue.
Of course, the arrests are stacking up real fast. Now, this is happening under President Donald J. Trump back in the White House, while federal prosecutors from the U.S. Attorney's Office quietly move case by case, file by file. Florida, Texas, Georgia, Michigan, and California. Different
and Maryland soon to come.
States, different offices, same pattern. Now, judges accused of abusing their power, lawmakers accused of stealing money that was meant for Americans in crisis, oversight reports detailing thousands of documents, dozens of witnesses, and years of alleged misconduct. And here's a key question that nobody in legacy media wants to ask. I don't care if it's CNN or MSNBC, it doesn't matter. Why now? That's the question. Why are these arrests happening all at once? Why are judges suddenly included? Oh, and why does it feel like the people who thought that they were untouchable all along are suddenly very, very nervous? Well, tonight we're going to slow this down, we're going to connect the dots, and we're going to explain what this wave of arrests really mean about power, corruption, and a political system that's under stress. Because when the FBI sweeps in, it's never random, and this time it is completely different. Be sure to drop a like for the video, subscribe to the channel, and share this video. We need to get the truth out here. Now,
I'm sharing it, Ron. I'm sharing it.
Every story just like this has a moment where everything changes. Now, for Tanya Fernandez Anderson, that moment didn't happen on cable news. It didn't happen in a press conference. It happened at a front door. FBI agents right outside of a private home. Not rumors, not leaks. Real federal agents executing their job. Now, here's what matters. What didn't happen. No immediate explanation, no details from city officials, no public defense. Instead, the U.S. Attorney's Office steps in and says the words that always mean one thing. We can't comment because it would compromise a grand jury investigation, of course, right? So when you hear that, it is already past the talking stage. And that is the moment that the public realizes that this isn't politics anymore. This is procedure, it's paperwork, it's evidence. And this is exactly why this case landed so hard. Because once the FBI is at the door, the system has already moved. Quietly, carefully, and for a long time. Now, this wasn't loud, it wasn't rushed, it was deliberate, and this is what made the people stop scrolling. Now here's where everything shifts, because if this were just one person, one city, one bad decision, the story ends right there, but it didn't. Almost immediately, more names surfaced, more jurisdictions, more charges, judges.
They're coming. Look, I told you all, I warned you. I got the game plan. Oops, oopsie, ooey. Oopsie, maybe I spilled a little bit too much. Uh-oh. It's coming. Let me continue with Ron.
Lawmakers, different offices, same timeline. Texas, Florida, Georgia, Michigan, California. Different states, same headlines. And that's when people started asking the question that matters the most. Why now? Not who do you like politically, not what party is this, but why are these cases landing together? Because patterns don't form by accident. Federal investigations take time, sometimes years, which means that these cases were already moving along before the public noticed. And now they're arriving one after another, kind of like
dominoes. Boom, 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 boom. Maine, they didn't. Maine, they're really going to Maine. Maryland, it's in DC's backyard. It's coming. Like I said it was coming. I said it was coming. I said it was coming. Now, what I want to get into is we had a situation where a radio host decided to make a comment attacking Donald Trump's wife, attacking the First Lady. I know one thing. There were individuals who attacked my wife, and I'm dealing with them. We've got an active investigation going on with the Department of Labor. Can't get into it. You've got the EEOC. You've got a federal court case, and there's more coming. So they messed with the wrong man's wife. And I'm going to deal with it. And we're dealing with it. And there's more to come. So now you've got somebody talking smack about the president's wife. Let's hear what was said. What? Now that's Carlton Douglas. For some reason, he wanted to attack. That's an attack on the First Lady. And put it out there that that's what he believes. She's here, and that's his belief. But she's here illegally? You know what? I want to AI this because this is so stupid that you would do something like that. And he's a booster. He's an advisor. He told me. Okay? Not hearsay or whatever. He's an advisor to Conaways. Okay, so you got the Conaway advisor, you got the show, they go on his show so he can sugarcoat things, and then you had Isabel come on Jason's show, and then Carlton went on Jason's show, and this is a whole, Isabel, why would you get yourself involved in that cauldron and hot mess? Indirectly with the Conaways. But I'm going to AI this. Is Melania Trump an illegal alien or here illegally? Now I'm asking AI, see what it says. And it says, this is what AI says. I love this AI. Melania Trump is a lawful United States citizen. That's what it says. Right out the gate. Lawful United States citizen. Having received her citizenship in 2006. And a green card prior to that in 2001. While she has stated she followed all immigration laws, reports in 2016 suggested she was paid for 10 modeling jobs in 1996 before obtaining her legal work visa, raising questions about her compliance at the time. But right now, there is no question. She's a United States citizen. Why would you get on the air and say something that's stupid? Now, I know the men in Maryland don't really believe in defending their women. I said it. I believe the men in Maryland, the state of Maryland, do not believe in defending their women or children. You know why I'm saying that? Because you say, Sean, that's outrageous. I defend my wife. I defend my... You know why I'm saying that? Because of Anthony Brown, the Attorney General. The Attorney General has open arms by basically saying, I'm going to protect anybody who's an illegal alien, including criminals, rapists, murderers. Come on in. By protecting them and putting your women, your children at risk in your neighborhood where they come in, move in your name. You don't know anything about this person who could be a criminal, who could be a child murderer, who could be a drug trafficker. None of that. And that's why I'm saying, because the men in Maryland did not stand up to Anthony Brown. They should have run him out on a rail for putting them in that situation. But did they? No. So that's why I'm making that statement. The men in Maryland don't protect their women. Guys like me, I do. I protect my wife. There are men who do. Don't get me wrong. There are men here who do. And they're against Anthony Brown. And I'm talking about guys like Nino Mangione. And there are. But for the most part, I don't hear these other men. Nothing. It's a disgrace. You're a bunch of geldings. Now let's continue with this. Well, I actually made an appearance on the show, Carlton Show, the Frank Conaway Sr. show, and I had to straighten him out. Because he doesn't know what's going on. He's supposed to be the Conaway advisor, and you'll hear how he's in the dark, or was he faking? That's me.
Hey, good morning, Carlton. How you doing? It's fine. Look, first of all, I just want to talk about, just very briefly, Don Lemon and the situation. I saw what was going on with Don interacting with the folks prior to going into the church. That wouldn't fly well going into Melania Bible Baptist Church. Let me just let you know that. You're not supposed to walk into a church to stop a service. That was outrageous.
Yeah, Melania Bible Baptist Church, FYI, is the church my grandfather founded. Notice they didn't go to a black church to do that. They went into a church and interrupted. The church is nice and quiet. They were white folks, and they were nice, and it was nice and well quiet. Go into a black church and try. That's why Don didn't do that with these people. Don, why did you advise them to go into a black church? Because you would have got your butts handed to you. That's why.
With him as him being a reporter, investigative journalist, whatever you want to call it. I'm still looking into it. I don't like the arresting part with Don. I think there's some concerns that can be handled a different way. My other concern, and it's just not my concern, people are coming to me because I'm a business person and I've dealt with all types of situations.
No, I'm going to preface this. Yes, I have dealt with all types of situations. I mean, I've been in situations and around people most people will never be involved in, ever. I have. I'm not going to get into it, but I wanted to let Carlton know. And Carlton knows a lot of this stuff already. He's feigning like he doesn't know who I am. Please. My grandfather saved his bacon on more occasions than he'll even admit. But let me go ahead and finish up.
And they're coming to me concerned about the situation with the Register of Wills office. And people, you have to get that sort of thing done at estate planning, and it has to be registered. But if you got concerns because of the $1.1 million that the Office of Legislative Audit found was unaccounted for, that's a concern if you're a citizen and you have in a state where you have to register a will. And the other part of that is that you have a citizen, Terrence D. Smith, filing a civil lawsuit against the Register of Wills, Belinda Conaway, the Sheriff's Office as well, regarding an estate hearing. And she was alleging that she was kidnapped and wasn't even a full booking that was run.
That did happen. That is a case in Pacer. You can look it up. Isabel Cummings, the IG, that's not her purview because it's a state agency to register wills. But we'll continue.
Jailed, and the clerk of the court, Xavier Conaway. Now these are her allegations in the civil lawsuit that Xavier Conaway, the clerk of the court, signed off on that. So I just want people to know that if you're concerned about the integrity of the Baltimore City Register of Wills, you can secure your will by filing it for safekeeping in a different Maryland jurisdiction. custodian for the document, not a trustee. And you can get an attorney, consult with a trust and estates attorney about filing your will for safekeeping in a different county. And you also can have an attorney to ensure the document is properly executed, witnessed, and kept secure, reducing the need for direct interaction, because they have concern. Direct interaction with the Register of Wills office until necessary, because they store the documents. They do not handle the funds or assets themselves, and people they're concerned about that, because you're talking about $1.1 million unaccounted for. That's possible embezzlement. That is a serious situation.
It is a serious situation. Why would anybody in their right mind, because the news media, they're keeping it quiet. I mean, it's completely quiet on the Paris D. Smith lawsuit against Melania Trump and the sheriff and some others, central booking. They're keeping that completely quiet. The $1.1 million, there was a big news story on that. Okay, CBS News covered that, a bunch of news agencies and outlets, they covered that. Now they've been quiet about it. So why would anybody in their complete mind have confidence in Melania Trump? $1.1 million is missing. Some young lady was in a state hearing. These are her allegations. Her husband, speaking of men protecting their women, her husband looked for his wife. This is all in the documents. You can look it up in Pacer. Paris D. Smith versus Central Booking and Intake, Melania Trump, the sheriff's office, Corey Hannibal, whatever his name is. And you can look all that up. And the husband goes there the 3 days. The husband goes there, and she's kept in jail for 3 days. The husband goes there looking for his wife, goes to the clerk's office, Xavier Conaway's office, and they tell him, allegedly, this is all in the documents, she's not here, we don't have her, and she's down in the jail. So my advice is, get a lawyer, Mrs. Smith, Paris, get an attorney, get a law firm on this. I see how you handle it pro se. Don't do that. I hope you've taken my advice and done that. Because they got all kinds of little tricks to slip you up in the system. Trust me, I know. So let me continue.
So let the listeners know. Okay, I got 2 questions for you. Number one, the first question I got is, why are they coming to you?
What, are you jealous, Carlton? Why are people asking me? I'm going to give my answer, but I'm thinking to myself, what is he talking about? Why are they coming to you?
Because Carlton, I'm a business person, you know that.
Now, as I'm giving my answer, that was one part. I am a business person. I understand these sort of things. That's number one. As I'm attempting to finish my answer, this rude host, oh yeah, Carlton, by the way, my wife says that, this is what she said. She said that you are the rudest host she's ever heard. She told me. She said, how can anybody go on his show? He is so rude. He cuts people off. He's ignorant and rude. That's what she said. And guess what? I agreed. You are. You're a terrible host. The way you treat the people that call in, not just me, but other people. If anybody's ever heard the show, the few people that heard, he had to yank the show from YouTube because he was only getting 20 or 30 views. And that challenge is still on for you, Jason. Why don't you go ahead and tape your little show, okay, get cameras in there, whatever, put that some of it on YouTube, okay, your show, since you think you're so hot, and see how many views you get, Ace. I don't think you have the cojones. You know what that means, you're Puerto Rican. I don't think you have the cojones to do it. As a matter of fact, I know you don't, because you wouldn't get any viewership. Because nobody wants to hear you. Now your credibility is shot. But I digress. Let me get off my soapbox. Let me get off my soapbox and continue. Carlton Douglas, who attacked Melania Trump's citizenship.
But I ain't had nobody come to me and ask me about what's going on with $1.1 million backers.
I don't know why they didn't. Why didn't they go to you? They should have went to you. You're supposed to be the Conaway's advisor, former advisor. I don't know what it is, but you told me you were their advisor. So why didn't they go to you when they heard about Belinda and the $1.1 million unaccounted for because the Office of Legislative Audit found $1.1 million unaccounted for? And nobody came to you, Carlton? I think you're full of BS. I think people did come to you. I think because you're so close. Oh, you and the Conaways, you and Jason and the Conaways, all of y'all, and your little corrupt bit. I think you're so close, and I know you're so close, it would make no sense for them not to go to you. So that sounds stupid just on the face of it. Let's continue.
I was at the register of wills, and I don't know any business people that I know very well in other businesses that have come to me and said the same thing.
Well, I don't know why these dumbbells didn't go to you. If they had a concern about $1.1 million of taxpayers' money, federal money missing, and these so-called business people didn't, knowing how close you are to the Conaways, these business people, wait a second. Wait, let me get this straight. You talking about these people in Maryland, Baltimore, wherever they are, all this nonsense going on with Belinda Conaway, that they didn't, knowing you're close to them, they didn't come to you? And they didn't ask you any questions, Carlton? That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. The only reason that would make sense, if that's true, is because they figure that, you know, you maybe don't have that kind of knowledge base. Maybe you just can't handle that kind of information. Maybe you just, you know, not professional enough or knowledgeable enough to be able to answer the question. That's why they didn't come to you. But they came to me. People came to me. So take that, put that in your pipe and smoke it. Let's continue. I got to continue this.
Okay. So your answer is that because you're a business person. Now, my next question.
Man, now see how they just tried to be slick. Okay, so that's your answer. Let's move on. He knew I was in the middle of giving a complete answer before he cut me off. Trying to be slick. Because you're covering up for the Conaways. You're covering for him. But listen how I deal with Carlton Douglas. Listen to this.
I have a podcast as well, Carlton. You know that. Okay, I get a lot of, but that's not what you said. A lot of them. Wait a minute, hold it. That's not what you said, Sean.
Because you cut me off, Carlton. On purpose, Carlton. Because you cut me off, Carlton. Let's go on. Let's finish.
You said they came to you because you were a business person. You did not say that they came to you because you were a podcast. I'm expounding on my answer if you let me do that, okay? It's called expounding.
Yeah, so stop being rude and let me finish my friggin' answer. Being a jag-off on your show.
Now, I am a business person. I do have a business degree. I have dealt with situations with estate planning regarding my family. And I do have a podcast. It's all the outsiders, and I've been looking into this information. And I've been investigating the situation. So, yes, Sean. All right, now the second question is, because I don't understand about this lady getting locked up. When you say she was...
Oh, I know he's full of crap. There's no way that Belinda Conaway is getting a federal civil lawsuit. You are, or were, whatever, an advisor of the Conaways. And then she didn't come to you and say, look, I got a situation here. I got this lady who's suing me in federal court. Nobody goes to you, Carlton. You don't know nothing. You just sit around at your funeral home or whatever, and you do your show, and you do whatever you do. And I've known you for a long time. And then you're telling me that Belinda didn't come to you. Nobody comes to you. Nobody talked about $1.1 million unaccounted for. Nothing happened. And she is up on a federal civil suit, getting charged in a federal civil suit. And there are allegations in kidnapping. And you're going to tell, man, you know, there's some things I can say, but I'm not going to say because I'm a Christian man, because I could rip and tear right now. They're going to tell me that bunch of crap, BS. That's as nice as I can get with that. BS, Carlton. Carlton, you are full of BS.
Okay, let me explain something, Carl. You can look this up, and it's okay, audience. You can go on Pacer, P-E-C-E-R,
type of lawsuits that are going on. The lady's name is Paris, like the city, Paris D. Smith. Paris D. Smith versus Central Intake and Booking, Melania Conaway, and the Sheriff's Office, and I believe a few other folks. And it's in regards to her allegations in the federal civil lawsuit. And the allegations include that she was at a hearing, in a state hearing. Okay? I put that information out. People found out about it and they wanted to talk to me about it. And at the estate hearing, she is alleging that the sheriff, Melania Conaway, had the sheriff take her away at the estate hearing and put her in jail, where the clerk of the court signed off on that. The documents are listed in the exhibits in CASA for the federal lawsuit. So this is what is actually happening. It was filed in court, I believe in May of 2025. Okay, we'll look into it.
Okay, now you heard what he said. We'll look into it. Duh, I didn't know anything about no kidnapping or Paris Smith or a federal lawsuit about the Conaway. Nobody came to me about $1.1 million. You supposed to be a businessman, and I got business people, and they didn't come to me and say nothing about no business to $1.1 million. Really? Really? Nobody came to me about nothing. I don't know about no kidnapping. Could you tell me what's going on with this kidnapping? I don't know nothing about this. No, I don't know nothing. Hey, Carlton, nothing for nothing gets you nothing. Now, what I would do, I'd be a little bit concerned about the popping off at the mouth with President Trump's wife and her citizenship. Okay, that's what I would be concerned about. And your close connection with the Conaways and what's going on with these lawmakers in other states getting pulled out, arrested, the FBI looking at them, and it takes years, but they're patient. On that note, I'm going to close out. Because it's my time for me to close out. Because nobody don't tell me nothing. I ain't no businessman. Okay. My name is Sean Sims. This is the Outsiders Podcast. Tell your friends, get it out there, because we tell it like nobody else will. God bless. Take care.